Well, the ministry is there. We come see, come sal. Let me put it that way. We're struggling. I like to be clear. We're struggling, but we're not giving up hope. Once there is life, there is hope. So we're continuing to do the best we can under the circumstances to carry out our mandate.
Struggling?
Struggling, we are.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means that what we expect to have to be able to do that which is expected of us has not been forthcoming. Let me say this. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I like to be frank too. Some of the criticisms that we get come from the fact that we just didn't have it to do what the public expects of us to do.
Why are you as bold as you are sometimes?
Because that's my nature. I like to be frank with people. I like to say the truth. I'm a journalist by profession, and I built my reputation over the years saying the truth to people. Regardless of the fact that I hold a political position now as the Minister of Information, I believe when you tell the truth to the public, it is easy for them to understand what you're saying and believe what you're saying, and at the same time reason with what you're saying, as opposed to trying to lie. Because when you lie and the people find out that you've lied, you even lose credibility, and then the disrespect and the disbelief creeps in. And at the end of the day, you can no longer be trusted. In the public space, trust is very important. The voice that speaks to the people must be a trusted voice, must be a credible voice. That is why I try to do the best I can under the circumstances.
I mean, trust me, I'm not supposed to ask you this question I'm about to ask you, because I know you are a university lecturer of mass communication. You know, when you're talking about journalism in this country, nobody have to like it, but you mentioned Ledgerhood Rennie. But how are you managing between public perception about who an information minister is supposed to be versus the professional Ledgerhood Rennie as a journalist and a professional person who've got a lot of mentees, considering that job is a political position? I mean, I'm just thinking.
No, your question is very fair, and we grapple with that already. In fact, that's the challenge that I face. But the truth is, I think it's simple. Truth-telling is cardinal in the responsibilities that you've outlined, whether as the political person, as the Minister of Information, or the journalist as I am or as I was prior to taking on the political act. Truth-telling is sine qua non to all of it. And that's why I try to do the best I can to say the truth to the public about what we're doing as a government. Because at the end of the day, the messenger is quite important in the conveyance of the message to the people.
Absolutely.
If that messenger appears to be shady and has and is untrustworthy, the message becomes buried, the message becomes blurred, and then it is even questioned by the public. So we're trying to navigate in a way that we don't, lose on both sides of the coin. It's a tricky one, but we're trying to do the best we can.
So it's a difficult job.
The job isn't difficult. It's difficult now because of the lack of the support that we're not getting. So it seems difficult from the outside. But it's quite an easy job to do once you get the kind of support one needs to get. And Clarence, I'll tell you the truth. Even if you put Michael Phelps, who is the greatest Olympian of all time, 9 gold medals in swimming, if you put him in Cestus River to swim without the necessary lifeguard,
he would drown.
He might drown. And that is the situation we're talking about. There has to be what I call a strategic, intentional approach by the government to support communications. Communications is an expensive venture. Information communication is an expensive venture. It is not an activity called the press people go on the radio. It is not an activity. It is a part and parcel of a managerial function that deals specifically with strategizing and putting out information, quality public information to the people of Liberia about what it is the government is doing, what is the intention of doing so, and how it wants to achieve that. And until we realize that,
probably you are not convincing enough.
Then, I mean, I cannot be more convincing than anything else. And we see it works all over the world. Why do I need to convince anybody that we need to do that? Samuel Doe, under a USAID-funded project, decided that he will launch a Marshall Plan called Communicate Development with Communications. There's a book written by the late Alhaji G.V. Kroma. I think it's on Amazon, but I got one copy. And it's a clearly designed platform, sort of developmental benchmarks that was set up by the government in the 1980s to carry communications all across Liberia. That's why you saw the advent of the ELRV, Radio Vanjima,
ELRG,
Radio Grandjida, Radio Maryland, all these radio stations set up under the what they call the Liberia Rural Communications Network, headed by Florida Coupet and the late James Wallow. These people were developmental communications St. Jerome Davis, there to ensure that communications was used to help propagate the development programs and agenda of the government, using radio and television as the channels through which the government's agenda on development and would go to the people of Liberia throughout the length and breadth. You saw the expansion of television from Montserrat and its environs to Tubmanburg, as far as Bon County and Buchanan. So all of these are strategic plan of action derived from a concerted effort by government to using communications to develop the country, to bolster its developmental plans. And I think this is not far-fetched. It's something nobody needs to say. We've said it over and over and again.
I mean, you sit in a very difficult position, especially in the coming months. We're going to elections. You're supposed to be propagating government's policies and government development agenda, and I'm just imagining. I mean, in the midst of all this, do you think those kinds of support are going to come? Because if they don't, how do you do your work?
Well, and quite frankly, you're 100% right. At LBS, I coined a saying, and they call me that every time I visit the compound. $5 can cook cabbage.
I've heard that about you.
It's not possible. $5 can cook cabbage. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's do the job. And then criticize me for not doing the right thing. When you employ a coach, you understand what I'm saying to you? When you employ a coach, you're giving a mandate to qualify a team for a particular tournament, say Africa Cup of Nations. You can't just leave him alone and say, go and now go coach the team. There has to be a budget set for a program that will lead to the success or failure of the team. If the coach fails, then you blame him. But if you don't give the coach this kind of support that he needs to do the job, obviously you are setting him up for failure. Some of the criticisms we get, yes, the public would not know what's going on behind the scenes.
And that is where I'm coming. Do you get frustrated when you're in your office or your driver driving you to work and all the criticism, let them Rennie, the message and Minister of Information, people blasting the government and making even talking if I were a man. I mean, yeah, does that bother you?
It does, because I'm not shy. I talking, radio.
I mean, that's your area.
I'm at work, but if I had called you and said, Clarence, I wanted to be here this morning, the first thing you would say to me, the 1 hour is $350.
Yeah, I'll charge you. Yes. Because you won't come.
Thank you.
Except I invited you now. Yeah.
Like you have invited me, so I'm here.
Yeah.
But if I come, where do I get that money from? Every time, one of the things.
And I expect that you will get it. I mean.
Yeah. Most of the time, people think, that it is a perception, public perception, and I don't have a problem with that. That the minister should be trumpeting which means coming to the radio every now and then talking about government policies and programs, defending the government against issues that have been said about the government, informing the public what the government is, which is fair enough. But how do I do it? It's the question. What is the budget that supports it? Breeze. What is the budget that supports it? Breeze. When I come here on my own, it takes me $350 at most, at least.
Yeah.
So imagine if I'm going to OK FM today. On Friday I go to Prime FM. On Tuesday I go to another FM
Freedom
station, Freedom FM. That's $350 times three times 3, and that's $1,050 a week. Imagine you're doing it full time. Every week in a month. You're talking close to $5,000, and then a year it's about $60,000. That's just the radio.
That should be a small money for your ministry.
That's
in terms of operation budget.
I agree with you. But you know my ministry budget to operate?
No.
For the whole fiscal year, this fiscal period, January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2022, $17,500.
You see what? You're talking about $1,700?
$1,750.
No, Minister, I don't want to close the interview. You can't be serious. $17,000 right
no,
now.
I've been bombasted. I've been bruised. My reputation has been hurt, Clarence. Let me say it today. $17,000. And to date, since July this year, not a dime has come from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning.
Out of the 17,000.
Out of that 17 to run to operate the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism.
So how you working now? How you doing your work?
So we go there. We'll do what we're able to do under the circumstances. So we go there, we'll do what we're able to do under the circumstances. Don't put the cat out of the bag.
Do you feel the resigning?
No. I mean, I wouldn't let President Weah down. To do so, I wouldn't do it. That's not crossed my path. Perhaps maybe I want to have a meeting with him because I don't believe he's fully abreast.
You should have access to the president as a minister.
Yeah,
the president should call you every morning to say, "Legend, what's up?" Or you should have access to the president.
Easier said than done. We're in a political world. We're in a political field. Certain things happen behind the scenes. I wouldn't like to delve into it, Clarence. But I say this much, all right? You know, I have a great deal of admiration, respect, and loyalty to President Weah. No doubt about it. Even if I was fired tomorrow morning or I left this position, I remain loyal to President Weah because he's done great things. I know the man. He loves people. He loves this country. I know what his intentions are for Liberia. So I'm not going to be one of those such persons who, once you leave a position, then all of a sudden you see
you turn to an advocate,
or you turn to a negative person against that individual. I can never do it. If I did so, my God would never bless me. But the truth is, in governance, there are political juxtapositions. People hate people because of who they are, not necessarily because they have a personal beef with you, but because they see you differently. So they do everything to bring you down so that they shine. And some of us aren't those who go around yelling and fighting and making noise. And I try to do my work in the modesty of my intelligence, trying to engage with people who I believe will listen, will lend an ear that will bring the kind of results that we need to do the work we want to do.